Hey everybody, happy Thursday. My goodness, I know what day of the week it is here. Welcome to CIS 2454. Now, I do have two different sections here. I'm only recording this video once, I apologize. So if you're not in 1559, don't worry about it. You'll be okay. So I want to go over the syllabus here. I don't want to read to you because you folks made it to college. You know how to read. But I want to pull out the highlights here. So this is me. Hi, Eric Chinesky. This is my cell phone number. Feel free to call or text anytime. If I can't answer because I have 7 kids and I'm busy, leave me a voicemail. Let me know what time is a good time to call back. Usually I'm up very late. So if you want me to call back at 10, 11 p.m. at night, even midnight, I'm usually up. So I don't know if you can see the clock or not. I think that's usually covers my picture, but I'm recording this at like 2 in the morning because it's quiet in my house when the kids are in bed. So reach out anytime, call or text. Let me know what time is a good time to call back. If you want to meet, I've got standing office hours. This is my time I've got set aside to talk with you folks. If you have class questions, if you want to talk about nerd things, if you have just general tech questions, just want to check on how things are going with your program, feel free to make an appointment. Let me know. So I use Calendly for this. That'll let you book a 15-minute appointment slot here. So I've got Monday afternoons, Wednesday afternoons, and then evenings. I found most of my students are typically around later at night. So I don't know, maybe that comes with the territory or what. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10:30 to 11:30, you can schedule an appointment with me as well. So my apologies if you're a morning person and you're in bed by 9 p.m. You're a better person than I am, but I do not like mornings. So if none of these times work, reach out. I can try and do things off times as well. But this is the time I do have set aside to meet with folks. So generally I meet over Zoom. That's usually easiest for everyone, unless you're like next door to Farmington Hills at the Orchard Ridge campus. It's kind of a pain to drive there when we could just do a screen share. So if you do want to meet in person, let me know. Monday, Wednesday afternoons we can get in. But the evening times, the building is locked. They close the campus up at 10 p.m. and we can't get in. But, if you want to meet Monday or Wednesday afternoon, just let me know ahead of time. I can make the drive in and we can have some coffee. All right, 2 different sections. That's online asynchronous. Our classroom is the website here. This is a copy-paste of the course description, prereqs, outcomes. These probably won't make a lot of sense yet because we haven't covered the content. We'll get to that later. We'll come back to these, and we'll take a look, make sure we're hitting all these outcomes as we go. 2 books. We have 2 books from Maroc. Generally, I like Maroc. They're cheaper, and he's pretty straight to the point. It's not super dry like a lot of textbooks tend to be. So we have the Java Servlets and JSP. This is the 3rd edition. It's a little old, but any of the new stuff, we're not at this level, we're not really taking advantage of the new fancy things, so we're keeping, here's the core bit of how it all works here. And then PHP MySQL, the 4th edition is relatively new. I think it came out 2 years ago now? Year ago? Wow, I don't remember super well. But you can order from our bookstore or your favorite online bookstore. And then supplemental materials. We're going to use all sorts of tools here to write our programs. So I like GitHub, the hosting provider of the Git source control tool. It's just one hosting provider, but they give away a lot of free stuff for educational use, so I make lots of use of them. And I prefer the GitHub desktop client because it's the same no matter what language I'm teaching. Different tools have different integrations with Git. If you like them, go for it, right? Whatever you want to use, that's great, but everything I do, I'll show with the GitHub desktop client. Discord, I like that for office hours. I've got a class channel set up for you folks, and this is a great place. If you've got questions, pop into the class channel and ask, because then everyone else will see your question and everyone else will see the answer. Right? If you just shoot me an email or text me and I answer it to you, I usually get like 3 of those questions. So this, it's good for all of us. We all get to see the questions. We all get to see the answers. We'll use the OpenJDK because we're going to need Java installed for NetBeans. We use NetBeans for PHP and JSP and Java servlets. And then XAMPP is a cool software package that gives us, oh my goodness, we're going to get Apache, we're going to get MySQL, you're going to get PHP, we're going to get, wow, what's the other P here? I'm not remembering off the top of my head here. Let's go to the website and see. Let's what does PHP give us here? Apache, MariaDB, PHP. Oh, Perl. Perl's the other one here. Yep, that's what it is. So we're not going to use it, but it comes with it. So they're all packaged together. If you don't want to install the stuff locally, or you have a Chromebook, you can use the virtual desktops. That connects into the college PCs, and you can use all the software that's already installed there. All right, our policy on plagiarism and cheating. I am a bit of a stickler on this, and hopefully you are too, because cheaters should not get degrees. It just devalues the degree for everybody. Because if you cheat your way through school, and then someone hires you because you have a degree, and they figure you probably know what you're doing, and you suck because you cheated your way through school and don't know what you're doing, they're going to think we did a terrible job of teaching you at this institution and not want to hire other graduates. So it's in your interest to not let your friends cheat and get through class because they'll be dumb and suck, and then other places won't want to hire graduates from OCC here. Okay. Now, I'm not necessarily asking you to go narc on everybody, sure. But you don't want people to cheat. Don't let them cheat off you. Don't give them your work, right? That sort of thing. So my policy for the class here is if you engage in academic dishonesty, you fail the class and get reported to the dean. There is no 0 on the assignment. There's no try again. There is no, and you just fail. Cheaters will not pass my class if I can catch you. And I'll be honest, I don't catch everybody, right? I'm not perfect, and some people are good at it, but don't, right? You spend some money on the class, you're trying to get this for a reason. Ideally, you're learning something, and all of the assignments are here to help you practice the thing that we learned. It turns out the only way to get good at something is by doing it and practicing it and trying it, right? So the goal is to get lots of practice here. That being said, if you're not sure, just ask me, right? Before you turn it in, you are welcome to ask as many times as you want. That's perfectly fine. But once you hand something to me or, turn it into D2L or whatever here, right? It's giving it to me, essentially. If you turn it in and you haven't asked me, right? That's your saying, hey, this is my work. Here you go. And if it's not your work, you've engaged in academic dishonesty and you'll fail the class. Now, I know there's websites like Stack Overflow. I'm not dumb, and I actually used to make a lot of money using websites like Stack Overflow to make software work. So I'm good with you using your resources here. But what has to happen is we have to cite our sources, right? We have to give credit to the originator of this idea. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. That being said, though, Chegg.com is not cool. They are terrible, awful people. I hope they go out of business. They're getting sued, or they're getting sued by one of the big publishing companies who I also don't really like. So I think only the lawyers are winning here. But in general, you cannot post things there because posting class material there is actually already a violation of the policy, and you can't even cite answers there. Please just don't. Just stay off of Chegg.com. It'll make life better for you as well. So any use of Chegg.com or similar websites will be considered academic misconduct. Chegg or Course Hero, or I can't even figure their names here. But chat tools, our GPT-style tools here, Copilot, those sorts of things, I'm cool with. Right, I'm okay with that, but you have to cite it as your source. You have to tell me what you asked the chatbot for and what piece of code you got from the chatbot. Now, that being said, though, you can't just turn in the whole solution from ChatGPT, right? You have to have original effort. Just like in the English paper, you can't turn in one giant quote and say, here's my paper, right? You can use pieces to build your paper. You can use pieces to build your program and cite your source, like you do with an English paper here, but you've got original effort. And I'm pretty sure, I should probably ask my English colleagues here, but like at least half the paper has got to be original effort, right? If you have like 75% quote and you only have like 3 paragraphs of your own work, that's not going to fly. Right? So ChatGPT tools are great for helping you debug. Hey, I'm getting an error. Here's my code. What's happening here? They're like, hey, I need to do this one particular task here and get one small function or method. That's fantastic. Go ahead and cite your source. I'm cool with it. Right? Developers will be using ChatGPT to make them more effective, more efficient at what they do. But at our level, we're still learning how some of these things work. So if you just ask it for a solution to your assignment and give it to me, you haven't learned anything. And then when you have to go do something on your own and it doesn't give you an answer that works, you're not going to know that it doesn't work. And then you won't be able to fix it and tweak it and modify it and actually take what it gives you, which sometimes is not functional, and make it functional. Right? That's the big goal here. Right? And then the OCC policy here, right? It's interesting is it's in the judgment of me may be construed as academic dishonesty. So there's a lot of leeway here, which is nice. For me. So generally it's plagiarism, right? Giving someone else's ideas, whatever, without crediting the originator. Other things you can do are distribution of academic material. Posting things on Chegg is a violation of the policy. And this does include those who aid and abet, which is such a fun term here. So don't let someone look at your assignment because they just want to see how you did it. They won't copy off you, bro. Don't worry. Because they're going to copy off you. And then now you'll both fail, because you both gave me the same assignment here. So please just don't do it, right? Just do the work, get the practice in. I get that it's, work. That's the goal here. And ideally, you're getting better at programming by programming. That's the only way to get better at it. Right? You can read books all day long, but you don't get better at programming until you start programming. Our code of conduct, definitely keep your classroom corridors quiet. It's super important for online classes here. Right, our grading policy. I like the weighted system. So we'll have labs, we'll have projects, we'll have quizzes, we'll have a single exam, just a midterm, not worth a ton here, not nothing, but it's low, and then a final project instead of a final exam. You can't pass the class without the final project, right? It's just mathematically impossible here. So we'll take a look at those when we get there. If you'd like a WS, you can withdraw yourself up to a certain date, but I can give you a WS up until you actually present your final project. If you've presented your final project and still fail, I can't give you the WS because there's no withdrawing. But if you don't present the final project, it's like you didn't take the final exam, I can give you WS. You just need to ask. I don't give these out by default because it can affect financial aid. I mean, Fs can do that too, but in general, you just fail, right? Because if you don't have this 40% for the final project, the best possible you can ever get to is 60, which is still a fail. You need at least 63 to hit a D. End marks here, at the end mark date, I have to turn those in for you. If you're on financial aid, bad stuff happens, you get pulled out of the class. If you paid for it yourself, they're changing the policy so you stay in the class. Lots of weird stuff here, but essentially turn stuff in, right? We've got a syllabus quiz this very first week. Just get that in and then it won't matter, right? That'll be easy for you here. I don't take things late. I post solutions to the projects after they're due. Right, and I show you this is how I would go and solve it here. So I can't take them late because once there's a solution out there, I'm not going to take it. Right, that's just not fair to anybody. So please plan ahead. All the projects you'll have 2 weeks to work on here. The quizzes and discussion posts are once a week. Every week we have something going with those. But again, I can't take those late. We got to keep moving. All right, these are pretty standard here. The Americans with Disabilities Act, if you need any sort of accommodations, please contact the Access Office and they will contact me. That's the only legal way to give accommodations in the class here. Keeps us all on the straight and narrow. And apparently OCC, some particular person at OCC sucked at this and we got sued and had to settle with the Department of Education. So please contact the Access Office and I'll hear from them and then I'll get with you and we can figure out what we need, okay? Our Academic Support Center is fantastic. They're one of my favorite things about OCC. We have a whole department that is dedicated to academic support and helping you do cool things. So they've got some seminars they run here, but generally the tutoring is the cool thing for people. Now, free is not really the right word here because it's paid for by your tuition and tax dollars, but it's no additional charge. So we got Rika is awesome, who does 2454. Jordan is awesome, does 2454. Andre is awesome and does 2454. And Tim is awesome and it should be 2454 on the list. I'm not sure why it's not there. He's tutored for my class before. But most of the tutors can tutor for this class. They got some pretty good availability. This might still be the winter one. I'm sorry. I don't have any control over this one here. But check out the Penji app. Right? You can schedule in Penji, and that should be great for you here. You got technical issues, contact the technical help desk. They're not going to do anything for our software, but Wi-Fi issues or things, contact them. D2L tech support is for the D2L website. Something's not working there related to the website itself. Anything related to the content is me. For technology appropriate use regulations, don't do stupid things with college resources or you lose access to college resources. It's really hard to do computer classes if you can't use D2L or other college resources. For netiquette, just be kind. Public safety, we got an awesome public safety department. We're online async, so probably not super important or practical or have any impact to us, but they're there. And then our libraries, we have all sorts of amazing stuff here at the libraries. I'm super excited. We just got access to this guide here, which is really cool. So one of the librarians put together a research guide just for CIS here. So if you come down to CIS, this is our own page. They've got some cool stuff kind of broken up by category here, and then they have a selected ebooks. This is my favorite link here. We used to have this IT Books Pro 24/7. It's going away July. It's got a lot of cool stuff, but O'Reilly for Higher Education is my favorite one here. So click on O'Reilly for Higher Education over here. You log in with your OCC login. I don't know what it's doing right now. It's being really slow. There we go. I logged in just a little bit ago for my other class video, but you'll log in and get started here. But O'Reilly publishes lots of cool technical stuff here. So if you're ever interested in something or want to read more, they probably have a resource for you. So, hey, look, I've got a AWS Certified Security Specialty. I've got a Networking Fundamentals. I've got Python. I've got ChatGPT. I've got Generative AI, right? All sorts of awesome stuff they've got out here. How to build microservices, right? They've got it there, and it's not just going to be the kind of hunting you have to do on YouTube to find something that's a decent quality. So they've got it available because our library is pretty awesome. So I'm excited for that. And all the other actual physical library stuff they have as well is nice. Got some good stuff for us there, so check them out. All right, for me, the expectation is I grade stuff within a week of the due date. If you check me out on Rate My Professor, it's not happened. I've not had a good semester where somebody's not getting sick. I've not gotten sick. I've not had a family issue. I feel like it just happens with 7 kids. But the goal is to get stuff turned around within a week here. I'm hoping I've got a little bit less going on this summer. I should be able to hit that. So that's the goal. For email response or any sort of communication response, 24 hours or less. If I don't get back to you, please reach out again. I've got my phone in my pocket like any good millennial. It's always on me because I'm addicted to it. But sometimes my little guy watches YouTube Kids on my phone if his Kindle's dead. So I have to give him my phone to play with, and I might miss a notification. So please reach out again. You're not bothering me. You're not pestering me. Just reach out if you haven't heard from me. Generally, I'm pretty quick on these things. And then our weeks here for our schedule. So we start on Thursdays and we end on Thursdays at 7:59 p.m. Someone at one point said every online class should start on Mondays, and then stuff would be due like Monday morning, which means everybody who waits for the last minute, which, you know, let's be honest, we generally wait to the last minute here, would start working on it Sunday and have all sorts of questions. And then every Sunday I'd get all sorts of questions from people. And, you know, I'd like to try and answer questions if I can, but it gets kind of annoying to have to answer all the questions on Sunday when I'm trying to do other stuff. So I said, hey, I can change the due date for things. So I'll just do everything starting Thursdays. And that's what I did. So we're going to go through PHP first, not quite all the chapters in the book, but the first 7 chapters, and then we jump ahead to get a couple more, and then the last one here. So essentially for the first 7 weeks, we do PHP, we do our midterm. Midterm is all focused on PHP. Our first 3 projects are all done in PHP, Project 0, Project 1, and Project 2. Right? And then we switch gears after the midterm and go back to Java and see how do we do this with Java servlets and JSP. And we start working our way through that book. Now, a lot of it's very similar, so we don't spend as much time on it. We can get through a little bit faster as we go here. So we just do one project in JSP, and then we start the final project in mid-July, and the final project is due. You're going to present them to me over Zoom. Now, I've got lots of different availability this last week here. Technically, 8/15 is the due date, but the semester doesn't end until the following Monday, so we have up until the following Monday. So anytime the week of 8/15 or the following Monday, I'll have appointment slots available. I'll try and do a couple on the weekend as well for that Saturday and Sunday. But you'll meet with me on Zoom, you'll share your screen and run through the project and show me, hey, it hits all these different items that I need to on the rubric there. Generally, it works out pretty well. And if it needs to change, I'll let you know. All right, we're almost there. A couple of links here. My website is out here. It's just a fun website. It's got my About Me and pile of things. And then it's got links to the GitHub repository. So if you want to see any of the code I'm going to be showing in the videos, I'll be putting it out here in the GitHub repository. Putting code into D2L is awful and makes me very sad because it's not really made for code. GitHub is a hosting provider, a cloud service provider for the Git source control tool, and it's made for looking at code. So if I just go pop over here and let me look at like a winter class. Yeah, this is my C# class. You can say, hey, I want to look at the Texas Hold'em project here, and I want to look at the poker hand CS file here, and something. Right? This one was not finished. This was just a little demo here. But I can see, and then you can actually click the line numbers, and it gives you a little link here. So you can copy this URL and send it over to me and say, hey, Eric, I'm having trouble with this particular line. And that way you don't have to do any of those things with me, right? It works out pretty well. So that's sort of the goal there. So we're going to use GitHub to host our code, our repository, so you can put all your code out there, and then we don't have to be emailing things back and forth, linking things back and forth. Here's my Calendly link. You just go to Calendly, you find a day, take a look at the times. Now, it never fails. Every time I get an email from a student, like at 11 in the morning, they're like, hey, Eric, I'm on your Zoom, but you didn't show up. What's going on? I'm like, can you check? Because I'm pretty sure I don't have 10 a.m., 11 a.m. appointments because I hate mornings. They're like, oh, that was PM, wasn't it? And we all have a laugh. So just notice, right, every night, 10:30 to 11:15, because there are 15-minute slots here, I've got appointments. And then Monday, Wednesday afternoons I just don't do mornings because I hate mornings. All right, so there's the link for Calendly, my Discord server invite. Join the Discord server, post your memes, post fun stuff there, hang out with the class, ask your questions. A great place here. Trying to build up that community, so when you do finish and you go out in your workplaces, you'll let us know who's hiring, who's a good place to work, who's not a good place to work. Link for my Zoom room, password to CIS here, and then I do have a questions and answers forum if you like the good old-fashioned forums here. I use the forums for our discussion labs because that's the tool I have. I don't love them, but it is what it is. So we'll go from there. So, all right. Well, if you got any questions, let me know. If not, at 8 a.m. or so, week 1 will open and we'll go from there. So I'm looking forward to a great semester, and I will see you folks at least for final project presentations at the very end. It's 15 minutes or less. It's not a lot of pressure here. You're just going to go through the website, show me what happens. And really, this is my last best chance of catching people who cheat, because if you present something that doesn't look like your work, it's pretty obvious that you just copied someone else's solution for it. Or if I ask you questions about, oh, how are you doing this in your code? And you're like, I don't know. right? It's pretty obvious that you didn't write it, but if you can find where it was in the code and talk me through it and show, I'm not going to ask you like to go over every single line of code here because it's lots of code, but that's sort of the goal here. So that's why I do the presentations. And then online async classes are weird because I never really see you unless you schedule office hours appointments. So it's nice to at least see everybody once. Okay. All right, you folks, take care, and I will see you around. Let's have a great summer.